Good afternoon, fellow blabbers. So today it's just going to be me. My co-host Vincent is at a conference for work, and so I'm going to be flying solo. But today we've got a lot of great topics to share with you. Let's see, I've got about 7 items here, and I'm going to just run through these. But I wanted to, go over, as I mentioned, what's new, what's hot in social media for the week. I mean, there's a lot of great things happening, and I want to make sure that we keep you abreast of all of this information. So my name is Christian Karasevich. This is the Social Chatter blab. Basically, it's a blab that I put on with my company, Social Chefs. Our goal is to provide you with the best education and training on the web for implementing social media marketing throughout various industries, whether you're in a retail business, whether you run a yoga studio, a restaurant. We've got all the best tutorials to help you out. So this week, what's new, what's hot in social media? Well, first off, Twitter video uploads. So this is the first topic. Basically, what has happened is Twitter is now giving you a way to share and watch videos on Twitter. They're basically letting you upload some videos directly to Twitter through the desktop client. This is pretty big news because previously you had to use, your mobile device and whatnot to be able to do this. I'm going to put links to all these in the chat here for you. And if anybody wants to jump on and talk about some of these topics, feel free to. But topic number 1, Twitter video. And this is available, as I mentioned, you can now upload a short video to your desktop. So that's topic number 1. Pretty big news, I think, for most people. If you've actually gotten into using Twitter video, I'd love to hear from you. I mean, I tried using it a while back, probably a couple months ago, and we ran into some challenges because we wanted to upload videos, but then we were confined to mobile, and then it was we could only use short, very, very short videos. So, not much has changed, but except you can just now upload to the desktop. Second item. This is actually a Facebook item. It's actually pretty cool. So topic number 2 is about basically, let's just look at it like this. Basically, you can hire a plumber or other service industry through Facebook Messenger. Now, this is actually pretty neat. I'm linking you guys off to an article on NBC. But basically, what this does is it's going to let you basically text a pro using a site called pro.com, basically. So you send in a text, and you're going to get recommendations on like service prices. So, for example, if you need to install a faucet in your bathroom, you need to make some additional adjustments. That is an option. Now, it's only available in Seattle and San Francisco right now. But it is very, very, very fascinating, I think. Imagine if you have a business and you wanted to get into like the service, you have a service business, for instance. Right now, this is, for like home improvement, that type of stuff. But imagine if you have a service business, I think this could be really useful to be able to, to get in and, to hire somebody through Facebook Messenger. I think it's neat because it eliminates the need to actually go over to, let me go to their contact form on their website, let me send a bunch of emails back and forth, let me leave them a phone message. Instead, you can use Messenger to potentially hire somebody. So that's topic number 2. Again, I mean, there's, it's limited at the moment, but I think there's a lot of potential. I did want to send a shout out to Angela Levitt. Thanks a lot for joining today's blab. If you want to jump in on one of these seats, feel free to. My co-host, Vincent, couldn't make it. So if you want to jump on and talk on some of these topics, feel free to. We'd love to have you on there. So topic number 2, we're talking about hiring a plumber or other service industry through Facebook Messenger. Okay, well, let's bring Angela on here real quick.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Very good.
Sorry, not very dressed up. I wasn't planning on doing this.
No worries. I'm this is actually fairly dressed up because normally I'm wearing, it could be a Facebook T-shirt, a short stack T-shirt, some other businesses.
Nice.
Shirt, so
yeah, I'm gonna try to fix my lighting too. I'm not like I said. I just kind of jumped on as a whim and saw you're gonna talk about social and all that stuff. So I was like, oh hey, I'll join that.
Great to have you. Great to have somebody to chat with here because usually my co-host Vincent's on and he couldn't make it today. So
for sure.
So we were actually just talking about, I don't know if you've seen it, Facebook Messenger being able to hire basically, in this case, a plumber via Facebook Messenger. Have you had a chance to look at any of that or?
I haven't. Oh, I see. You have a link here.
Yeah, nice. I put a link there. Yeah.
Okay.
Quick read on it.
Cool. I know I use it a lot. So.
Yeah, I like the direction they're going with Messenger. I mean, they're really starting to branch it out. I mean, it's not just about like, let me send a chat back and forth with friends. I can send money. I think they've also added in, I think you can now send like a birthday video or they're testing that feature, if they're adding service contracts. I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense. I'd love to see this somehow integrate into WhatsApp maybe to where, you kind of bring everything together.
Yeah. So. You know what I thought of when I saw the money thing? I'm like, this will end the whole splitting the check debacle. Like, and I know there's other apps for that as well too, right. But like I practically live in Facebook Messenger. Like my boyfriend and I don't even text each other. Like our entire relationship is played out in Facebook Messenger. So it's like, why not leverage this to like help other things happen?
Absolutely. Right. I actually think splitting the check is a great idea as well for that. I mean, just to be able to give people options. I mean, there's tons of apps. I've got, a calculator app on my watch, so I can, do that stuff as well. But I think, it actually makes sense for a lot of these businesses to start to offer, convenience to their users.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Very cool. So that's, let's see. So we're talking about that topic. Let's see. Topic number 3 was LinkedIn Elevate. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at that either. I'm actually going to put that one here in the chat. I haven't gotten to that actually. So, by the way, what do you do? Tell us a little about yourself.
Sure. I actually run a marketing agency. So we specialize in like the tech B2B space, particularly telecom and IT. So some of our clients are like Time Warner Cable and Spectrum Business and stuff like that. And we do a lot of social content, web, that kind of stuff. But I actually started a business book club for just people that love to read like business, sales, and marketing books. And we held our first meetup here on Blab. Like one of the participants was like, why don't we jump on Blab? We were trying to do it on Google Hangout. And so that was my first intro to Blab, which was like 3 days ago. And I'm like, I'm just going to jump on and explore a little more, poke around. So
Blab is
here I am.
Yeah, so. It's a cool thing. I mean, it's, right now you're going to see a lot of marketers on there.
Yeah.
There's I think you're starting to get some of the audience on there, not as much as I'd like, I think, but I think there's so much potential with it. I mean, just, you can do so many amazing things. I was actually on a podcast earlier this morning, talking about how, we're talking about Blab, but I was talking about how you can use it in conjunction with your content. So like if you've got like say a blog post, you could put your blog post together and publish it. Great. Somebody happens to read it, but then you could hold a Blab as like almost like a follow-up or like almost like a study session. If you need to go more in depth with it with your audience, and you can rotate seats so people feel like they're getting heard versus like, hey, this guy will get to my comment whenever,
Yeah, definitely. So. Yeah, and it might be off topic, but so I know you can record these, and then after that, like that can turn into its own piece of content, right? Just the recording from the Blab. So how does it happen? Like when you're done, what format does it deliver?
Okay, so basically there's so you schedule your Blab, you start your Blab, and then there's a record option on the left. And then at the end, you're going to get an option to embed your Blab. So they give you like the embed code. They'll also give you an option to download the audio. So if you want to make a podcast out of it, and then you can download the video. And then as far as the video format, I think it's MP4, I think.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's really cool.
Let's see. Yeah, I think it turns out to be an MP4 file. So what I usually do is when I get my blabs finished, I'll usually upload them to YouTube. I'll add, a soft fade in and a fade out, upload it to YouTube, and then I have additional content on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really smart.
And it stores the replay, by the way, on Blab. So you get the full version automatically. So
yeah, it's really smart. It's really cool. I'm excited to explore a little more.
Yeah, it's a great tool. I mean, I've been using it for, let's see, this is the 8th episode, I think. Let me see. I do one of these a week. Yeah, 8th episode. So I've been using it for a little over 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. Overall, I'm seeing great growth off of it. And I mean, I really think that I like the fact that we can, delve into like more discussions instead of just, let me do this, webinar to people that I don't really know, are actually viewing. So
right.
Sorry if I put you on the spot there to kind of.
No worries. I know. I wish I would have. I'm like, oh man, I would love to have read all this stuff. I've been traveling the last 2 weeks, like extremely heavily. So I'm not as up to speed with all my readings as I should be with like all the news of the platforms and stuff.
Yeah.
But,
well, if there's anything you want to catch up on, over on my YouTube channel, I'll put this actually in the chat there for you, but you actually post basically a short little recap. And then I always put the links into the content that we talk about.
Cool. Yeah. I will check it out.
Awesome. So, so next topic we were talking about was this tool, LinkedIn Elevate. Basically, it's supposedly another way to curate content, for social and whatnot. Not that we need another content curation tool, I guess. But I guess it is nice to see LinkedIn kind of making a bunch of adjustments. They've actually done a lot the last few weeks. They did a huge update last week with LinkedIn groups. To where they're going to now make them basically they're going to let you limit kind of how they're like working. They're pretty big, significant changes. Mm-hmm. So, so they did that. They also now have this tool, and then they've also been revamping a lot of their messaging and a lot of their tools. So like now, if you want to go and you have Facebook Messenger and it has a certain look and feel to it, LinkedIn Messenger or LinkedIn's messaging feature now lets you do emoji and and that sort of stuff. They're kind of making it like a WhatsApp and a Facebook Messenger. So
nice.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't know how much that jives with the typical LinkedIn crowd.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing, and it comes down to that people are people, right? And that if you're having a conversation, whether it's a business conversation or a personal conversation, you include what they've done studies on emojis, right? And that using them makes people feel more connected to you, or more, I don't know, like it's more of a human conversation. Mm-hmm. So I can see, especially people who are using LinkedIn, maybe from a sales perspective, right. Sending that cold email with like a little smiley face at the end, it would be a really interesting, like A/B test, to see like cold emailing without a smiley face versus cold emailing with the smiley face, and what the reaction is.
Yeah. That is a very fascinating point. I mean, to be able to, to really delve into, LinkedIn and to kind of see like how that actually affects people. I mean, I agree with you. I think that, you do have to, you have to show the human side of like a brand and whatnot. And I think it does kind of, in a way, it detracts a little bit from the content to where like people don't feel like they feel, I think, probably a little more connected, like, oh, hey, they put a smiley face or a wink or whatever, as opposed to like just another like, cold email that you're sending somebody.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. So we've got that. Let's see. The other thing we also had was, speaking of emoji, Twitter has added in supersized emoji to direct messages. Mm-hmm. Again, I mean, I don't know. I don't do a whole lot of direct messaging on Twitter. I mean, I personally, I like that they've got a little video here, kind of showing their, how their platform works, which is nice.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I don't really do a lot of direct messaging on Twitter. If I'm going to do any sort of messaging, most of the time it's through Facebook Messenger, through WhatsApp, through text message, if they're, individuals that I'm, have a closer relationship. Mm-hmm. So how about you? I mean, do you?
Yeah. It's interesting. Most of my direct messages on Twitter are just kind of spammy. Like, and I'm always surprised that people are still using it in that way.
Yeah.
thank you for following, check out my blog or something like that. It's like, I see it and I'm like, does that ever work? I mean, it must to an extent, or people would stop doing it, I guess. But that or they're just like stuck in, marketing tips from 2009 or something like that. But yeah, I don't ever have any meaningful conversations on my Twitter. Private messages, direct message.
It's weird. Yeah. Cause you're absolutely right about that. I mean, most people, I'm wondering if they just forgot to shut it off because I mean, it's a little true. You get that, you do that. So like you send somebody a request to follow them, and then they come back with, hey, I use TrueTwit validation or some service. Is super dated. And then they also once you follow them, then they follow up with like, hey, go connect with me on LinkedIn, or, would you like a lot of times it's crazy. Like, oh, hey, I'm in social media. And then you happen to get hey, would you like to, learn how to get more followers on Twitter? Go check out. Sign up for my ebook or my email program or something. It's really interesting kind of seeing that. I mean,
I was actually just speaking at a marketing summit yesterday in Chicago, and the idea of Twitter came up because it's an interesting thing. It definitely blows up around our industry events, and so the people that I was speaking to, and we were having more of a discussion. This was a summit of maybe like 30 people in the room. And, they were asking me about Twitter and like, what, why does it seem to blow up around the events and things like that? And I'm like, for me, it's just because like, we're suddenly tweeting from the same room instead of like all sitting in different rooms. And so we can actually meet each other. And so like the idea of having the hashtag and all that stuff, like makes us want to connect more. And I've actually had in-person meetings come out of just live tweeting I've done at events. And that just doesn't happen, sitting in our rooms as easily. So to your point, it's just like those direct messages and stuff like that, and trying to get you to connect offline. If you're not in the same room, I just don't see, like, we're connected here on Twitter. Like, why do we need to take the conversation over to LinkedIn?
Right. Absolutely. It's all about context, I think.
Yeah.
People are like, I think that they think that, and here's the thing. I mean, there's only so many touch points that you can control as well. I mean, so I think they're probably trying to control all of those touch points. And at the same time, I mean, they're just not like, they might not have, I think, like a full grasp on how their whole system works. They just kind of like, just do it just because.
Right.
I think it's one of those things that, and I noticed this as well, like with events. I mean, Twitter is a great medium for that. I mean, just trying to, just bring everybody together and being able to follow a conversation. I mean, people always ask, well, what's the point of Twitter? Like, I don't get it. And it's like, well, try doing an event or something like that. I mean, Twitter is a great medium for that.
Yes.
I mean, it's so easy to follow the conversation. You've got all those little, snapshots, like those moments that are there. You're surfacing things, just by following, for instance, a hashtag at an event. I mean, you're able to surface so many great things from people that you don't even know those people. I mean,
right. Yeah, exactly.
And I think it really helps, really build, connections. So.
Absolutely. That's my favorite application for Twitter. Like I'm way more active when I'm traveling or when I'm at an event on Twitter than when I'm not, because I don't know, when I'm home in my office, I'm more on Facebook. And
right.
Like I am in people on Facebook and connecting there. And so I think it's really interesting. Like you said, it's like all about context, right? And all of I wonder if Twitter is going to realize that and maybe start to shift some of what it does to better prepare people for events or like support event connections or things like that. I don't know.
Yeah, but, I mean, Apple actually, they don't usually do a whole lot with social media, and they also just started with like an Apple Music help channel. So now, if people have questions on Apple Music, probably, or issues and whatnot, they can go to that as a support channel. I think that like, it's great to have like those kinds of like, areas. It's great to have, if I'm like a business and I have customer service, I mean, put your customer service on Twitter. I mean, you'll learn so much about your business, and two, like it'll give you additional content to be able to create, to answer some of those questions. I mean, it'll be, it gives people, I think also like, it gets them out of that, when they dial into a business and they have to go through like 8 zillion prompts just to get to like a live person.
Mm-hmm.
I think having Twitter, as a customer support mechanism, I think is just, it's a no-brainer for pretty much every business out there.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I was online last night ordering some flyers for a client, and their customer service chat link was not active at the time, right? Because like the person had gone to bed and something was happening, like I couldn't enter my credit card, and this is like a rush order and all that stuff. And so I used a Twitter account to to message them and just be like, hey, I'm struggling with my with I want to pay you. I want to give you money. I cannot give you money. Your website isn't working for me. And we connected that way, and then like got it taken care of, and I don't know if that just rerouted to a different department, or, they've got Twitter monitors overnight or something like that. But it was like, yeah, it was really effective. I mean, I was about ready to go somewhere else just because I needed to get that ordered last night. So
yeah, it's it's funny. I was actually tweeting with Buffer earlier about an issue I had with I was trying to integrate their tool with like Feedly, and I kept getting and I'm like, hey, I just want to test it out and see how it works, and I was clicking into Feedly and it just kept looping me back through the Buffer login screen. And Buffer's been, they have a great customer service team. I mean, they're really quick to respond. And if, when they do respond, if they can't help, solve the issue right then, like they'll usually say, hey, email us here. So it's like almost like email is becoming like a last resort to getting help on some things.
Yeah, because it's slow. It's become the snail mail, right? So
we've got let's see. I'm just looking at the comments here. So we've got what is this? Risa. So great responses through Twitter. If you want to take a seat, by the way, feel free to join us. If you just figure out how to find your target market. So what's your market? I don't know if you have any advice for Risa.
Yeah. What's your who are you targeting?
Health and fitness.
Okay. Do you have it niched down any further? Men, women who just had babies. What's the women over 40 who want to lose weight? Okay. How much weight do they want to lose? Go to the gym and don't get. Okay. That's pretty cool.
So I have a question because I'm looking at. So this is.
That's me. I'm not over 40 yet, though.
I'm actually over here looking at her. I'm looking at her at your Twitter bio, Risa, and I was checking out this sweet treats URL that you have here for. I guess it's Risa Lynch or Risa Lynch /chocolate, and it's interesting because you mentioned fitness, but you mentioned chocolate in your bio, and I guess I was trying to make the connection there. But I think on Twitter, I think the first thing you could probably do is you should probably try to link up with other fitness gurus, and you can do that by sharing some of their content and potentially looking at, for instance, you can look at their content and say, okay, like what kinds of things are they sharing that are getting retweeted, for instance, and then maybe you can delve into some of those tweets that have a high amount of retweets, and you can go in and consider maybe trying to follow some of those people. Mm-hmm. So like healthier desserts. Okay. I was only bringing the bio thing up because I was like, well, chocolate and fitness, they don't really go together unless there's, maybe it's, maybe there's a magic weight loss chocolate or something. I don't know. So.
Yeah, for sure. I think also, I would do some research into Twitter and, some demographic research. I mean, do you know that audience is on Twitter? You might have a much easier time reaching them on Facebook or a different platform. And Facebook's the way that their ad their sponsored ads have grown. It's ridiculous, like how targeted. You could literally target these women by their age. You could target women over 40 and who have done certain searches online for weight loss and stuff. if I were working with you, I'd say let's dive into Facebook first before Twitter. But that's not knowing much about it. That's just like first impression.
I've tried that, but I guess I'm not very good at the ad thingy because I'm doing something wrong because I don't get the leads that I seem like I should be getting.
Okay.
So, because, the whole Facebook and learning how to do the ads right. I mean, I've tried different things, but I'm not really sure where I'm going wrong because I've watched different trainings from different people too.
Sure.
I would probably start. If I were doing it, I look at the message probably first to see what message you're sending out.
Right.
And then, and also obviously look at who you're targeting, what kind of interest you're targeting, and also maybe, what kind of imagery you're using, and imagery. Also, who you're targeting. Are you targeting other Facebook pages as well? That's another option you could do.
Right. Well, that's what I was trying to do because I kind of learned from somebody that you should just target one thing at a time instead of a whole bunch of different interests because then you don't really know what's going on. So just target to one thing. So that's kind of what I was trying to figure out where my ideal client is. I think that's just my problem because I'm not sure that they are on Twitter and I'm not even sure they're on Instagram.
Are you looking to work with them one-on-one or have them subscribe to like your YouTube channel where you have videos for them, or what's the
I can do different things because I'm also a health coach, so I can work with them one-on-one. I can work with groups. I'm actually coming out with like a clean eating, like a 7-day thing that's in an autoresponder. So I want to sell. So I want to target people that are interested in that because I used to do free clean eating groups on Facebook and I had lots of success. I mean, my women lost weight in just the 5 days. They lost the bloat. They just learned how to read the ingredient label. They learned all sorts of stuff because I talked a lot about better product options and healthier sweet treats and how you can substitute things. So it was a lot of content. And it was just all free. And so I kind of am trying to put that into a 7-day like autoresponder type thing where they can also join a Facebook group if they want to. But I'm finding there are still a lot of people out there that don't do Facebook.
I can tell you when you were kind of typing out your different things and what you do and who you work with, the thing that really stood out to me was the message of, let me go back, who go to the gym and don't get results. Right. And that really stood out to me because I was like, wow, yeah, like that I've definitely struggled with that at different times in my life. So you might want to like look at that as the messaging. Again, if you're putting out, because that's like what's in it for me, right? Like that resonated with me personally. When you start to use words and like, I feel like clean eating is becoming like a buzzword almost.
It is.
And it's kind of like getting lost in this, like, okay, here's another health food thing about, don't eat chemicals and whatever. And believe me, I totally subscribe to that ideal. But when you said go to the gym and don't get results, suddenly you made that personal for me. And that really stuck out. And so I don't know, like, if you've played with your ads and stuff before, maybe it's just a question like, do you go to the gym and not get results, or, just something that simple might get more people to react than I have a clean eating program.
Yeah, I like that message. I mean, I think that actually should be probably a Facebook ad that you test, because if I see that, I mean, it's it's very like, it's shocking in a way. It's something that I can relate, as opposed to like, hey, I got another program, because there's so many other there's people selling MLM products, like there's people selling weight loss products, like just all of this kind of stuff out there, and and for you to kind of stand out, I mean, your ads need to definitely have some pop to them, to get people to take notice.
Right.
And also obviously the image too that goes with that. I mean, you want to make sure the image is something that resonates with that message. If you're saying, hey, you know what, if you're somebody who goes to the gym and doesn't get results, so like you would want somebody that maybe has that certain look to them. Maybe it's leaving, like, again, they could be leaving the gym. It's the expression on their face, it's the anguish, the pain, that sort of stuff. So I think that might be a good starting point for you.
That really helps. Thank you.
And if you want to, I mean, feel free to reach out. I mean, we can obviously connect offline. I mean, see how we can all work together on this. Because I think you've got something there, but I think obviously getting the pieces kind of aligned properly can kind of really help you.
Yeah, it's getting the pieces. It's a difficult thing. It's so much to learn. It's just, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're definitely on the right track though with your niche, and I think like that's something that most people don't want to do. Like they would have stuck with just health and fitness, right? Like, and these principles can apply to anyone. I could help anyone, and while that is true, that's not nearly as compelling as saying I'm building a group for women over 40 who already go to the gym, which means they're not beginners, right? They have some experience with fitness, but for whatever reason they're stuck, right? Like they're maybe it's some tweaks in their diet, maybe it's some tweaks in their schedule, or whatever it is. But that to me is like I said, like as you kept going and like getting more and more specific, and then you hit that one, it was like, oh yeah, I mean that's something that I would definitely want to check out. So so congratulations on like getting that detailed. And I would just say translate that into all of your messaging, right? So start with that. Like, hey, this is a group for women over 40.
I will work on that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, who get stuck at the gym, lead with that. You'll probably get more of a response.
And I would say that, I know you mentioned Facebook and we mentioned Twitter, and I think you briefly mentioned Instagram then when we came on here. I would personally probably scale back, and, I would probably say Facebook or even Twitter would probably be an ideal place to start. While Instagram may be a good place to start. I mean, you need to get some footing somewhere. And so, Facebook and Twitter, I mean, they're obviously, they're probably the main places I think people are going to be. Instagram, I mean, you're going to have a lot of people there, but you're going to, not everybody has Instagram ads at the moment to be able to even run those. So, I'd probably start there. That way you can at least get something going. I would actually go with Facebook first.
Yeah.
That's probably what I'll do. I mean, I have this big following on Instagram, and I haven't been as consistent lately posting to Instagram, but I mean, previously I've written really good posts. I always ask a question, but I don't get any real feedback from it. It doesn't.
And you mean, when you say you're writing good posts, are you writing like good social posts? Or are you talking about a blog post? What are you referring to?
Oh, on Instagram, like my Instagram, my picture and what I write. It's usually like motivating, inspiring, trying to get people to take action to do something. I always ask a question at the end. But I don't know.
I'd start with a Facebook ad. And then, I mean, you may want to delve into the Instagram ads a little bit. You can access those inside of Facebook Power Editor, like facebook.com/Power Editor. They only work for certain objectives, but you may want to look into that a little bit and see if you could target, since kind of ideally who your audience is you want to go after. You could see if those options are available to you in there. So.
Right. But I still have to figure out like what pages to target.
Right. But at least it would give you a good place to start.
People are hanging out is what I still need to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing about Facebook, I mean, you could put in there, women, you can put the age in, you can put, you can slice it down to like very specific. I mean, you could even geo-target it if you want to get all these people in a room, or, who knows, but it's for considering all the platforms that are out there. I think Facebook is the most advanced in terms of just its targeting ability and how specific you can get.
Yeah.
So.
And you can run, I mean, there's so many things that you could do with Facebook. I mean, you could run, you could put together a group that's specific for, or a page actually, like a passion page, basically, that's, it's just for like, I know you mentioned groups. I don't know exactly what your page, your group are called, but you could put together something like that and then run ads targeted to that, just to get people to like that page and start to build people up that way, and that way people are joining it because it's centered on a common goal. The goal is, hey, what was it? Women over 40 who aren't getting results. they go to the gym, they're not getting results. So like it's a broad page to where you get those people interested and then you can target them with ads, as opposed to just trying to start off right off the bat to get, the right audience in there. Get people there that are actually just interested around the topic first. So.
Yeah.
Okay. But I still don't know that, like, how do you target people who go to the gym and don't get results? I mean, because I've done targeting inside Facebook, and I know you can do women. I know you can do age. I know you can target a page, but how do you target? Like, how do you find people that go to a gym but not getting results?
I mean, if
like,
you may want
I think what's in
look
there.
at some of the interests that are there and look at what other pages are out there. Like I would probably spend time doing some more advanced searches on that type of thing. That way you could identify what some of those things are and then put them in as interest.
Okay. So maybe try to find some pages.
Yeah. I mean, they might have like fitness listed as an interest, right? Or maybe running or things like that. And just because it's listed as an interest doesn't mean they're the most in shape people, right? Like it's just something like a topic that they want to cover. And until Facebook starts requiring us to enter our weight to have our BMI or something like that, it might be hard to like get as precise as you want. But I think that's the whole point of the ad, though. You get it as close as you can, and then the right messaging in those ads will get you the clicks of the right people. So
like you target, for instance, like you target somebody interested in fitness, you target somebody interested in running, you could target somebody interested in weight loss or who has liked other pages related to that. And then, so that's the way to get them in the top of the funnel. And then your ad goes out and your ad is talking about, hey, are you going to the gym but not getting results? At that point, when I see that, if I've liked those pages and I'm starting to see your ad because of that, it clicks. And then, that's going to give me an incentive potentially to want to click on your ad, opt in to whatever type of ad you're running.
Mm-hmm.
Other question. When you're doing ads, do you do dark posts or just the Power Editor, or is the Power Editor dark posts? Because I keep getting that kind of confused.
I mean, Angela, if you want to jump in here too, basically the dark posts, those are basically posts where they're hidden from the newsfeed. They're hidden from your timeline. So like I could run an ad that's targeted to, let's say I want to put a post up, right? And I want to send it out to a specific demographic, right? Or certain location. I can run an ad for a post. And that's the dark post basically. So it's not going on my Facebook news feed or on my timeline, on my page. So I would actually, I sort of think you might have them a little bit mixed up there, I guess, because the dark post is basically a post that doesn't show up on the page. For instance, like if I wanted to post, like, let's say I wanted to put 5 different Facebook page updates out. Okay. If I put all of them out right now, they're going to go to pretty much everybody, or you can do a little bit of targeting, to show them certain people. But the benefit of the dark post is that I can run it and it's only going to go out to the certain group that's on there. So it's sort of like running a Facebook ad but it doesn't cost you anything. So you run the dark post and it doesn't show up on my page. Does that make sense?
Oh, I didn't see. I was thinking the dark post was an ad.
It's run through Power Editor, sort of like an ad, but it lets you do stuff like post something that doesn't go out to that audience, or it doesn't go out to everybody that's a fan of your page. Versus like a standard Facebook ad would just run, as just a regular ad. Does that make sense? So like you can run more posts that only go to certain people, or you can run an ad that goes to whatever targeting you have. And the ads, for instance, an ad doesn't show up on your Facebook page. Makes sense?
Right. It just goes in people's news feed of who you've targeted, right?
Right. So, yeah. So, I mean, as far as all that, I would create my ads and, just go to facebook.com/ads/manage. And then at that point, you can run your ads that way. Power Editor obviously has a lot more features. I don't know how much you run ads or how much you use them if you're kind of new. Power Editor is a lot as far as like, the learning curve and whatnot. for most people.
Right.
So, you may want to just start off with the basic ads objectives.
Well, I did the ads for a while and then I kind of got out of it. So then, of course, I forgot. And then when I went back into it, they'd redone everything. So I'm actually supposed to watch a webinar Saturday on the Power Editor.
Yeah, there's a bunch. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff out there. I mean, but I would probably, you may want to just start with just the basic Facebook ads first, because they've got a nice, a nice little interface now where you can go through and go through the different objectives that are available.
Okay. That's very helpful.
Advice, Angela?
Thank you.
I'm not the techie person on my team. I have a couple of other people that actually run the campaigns for our clients and stuff behind the scenes. So I can't talk to exactly how it's done. I'm more of the strategy person. So I can't really contribute to that.
No worries at all.
What you said sounded great, though. I'll go with that. Ditto.
I mean, I've been doing this for
thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
Any other questions, Risa?
I could ask questions all night, but
okay. Well, I'll keep moving through the topics, and if anything else comes up, we can talk about that. So, the next topic for this week, Facebook's been testing some new shopping inside of, obviously for Facebook pages. They're doing a lot of, actually a bunch of different things. So they initially were testing through the mobile app the ability to have like a shopping tab or like a product tab.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool, actually. I was actually really excited about this. But now they're also testing out a shopping section. And this is actually pretty neat. So this is actually, I think, geared more towards the average user. I'm going to put this in the chat window because this is probably one of my favorite things. What am I at topic? 4? Is this topic 4? I think it is, right? Okay, so Facebook shopping. Facebook shopping is a way, this is cool. So like if I'm a consumer and I want to go buy something, obviously, that Facebook ads, like they follow us around on the web. We go look at, say, something on Amazon, and all of a sudden we're on Facebook and we're seeing a targeted ad based on something we just looked at. So the benefit to this is actually a section. They're talking about adding a section to your Facebook account, like in between the menu and the in between the events and the group section. And they're looking to give you like almost like a curated section of items that you would be interested in purchasing.
Interesting.
I'm actually really fascinated with this. I spent 10 years in e-commerce. For me, this is exciting because I've been wanting Facebook to really get into doing shopping for a long time. I mean, there's so much potential there. So I think it would actually be really cool to have, the ability to go on my Facebook account, and if I find something, to be able to shop right there from Facebook. To have like a dedicated section, I mean, that's cool. Like, imagine being able to like start to favorite things, or like, if you like something, maybe you like it, or you do something with an emoji or something, and maybe it'll add it to that list. Who knows? But the thing that I think is that by having a discovery place, I can go and immediately, one, find things I normally would buy, or that I've been looking at the web, or two, possibly maybe have it curate other products. Like, for example, if, let's say I'm looking at, a certain type of clothing, and maybe, it'd be really cool, I think, if it could offer me not only that product, but maybe show me comparable products, that are based on like, certain other, other information. Like, for instance, if I'm looking at like, say, a high-end designer product, maybe it'd be cool, I think, to be able to see the shopping feed, and then be able to, see like the particular brand, but then maybe see like additional products by other designers, for instance, that are very similar. They're in the same class, maybe. I think that would be probably pretty neat. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I kind of laughed when I first saw what this was, because I'm like, oh my God, like I already spent enough time on Amazon, like, and just getting sucked in, and you might like this too. And I, look through all that stuff. I think it took me like 3 weeks just to buy coasters. I needed some coasters for my like new table, because there were like so many choices and, all this stuff. However, I think it is interesting, because one thing that Amazon does not do is reach across all these different brands in the way that Facebook probably could, right? So, like what the link that you just posted shows Target. So, okay, here's the Target brand, here's the Macy's brand, here's Nordstrom, here's, of jeans or, whatever it is that you're looking at. So yeah, it's really interesting. I would just I wonder, do you think they would have like an option to mute it or like have it dropped from your, I mean, of course it's what they would love to have people shopping. Like I can hear it now because people scream about games, right? Like I don't want to see games, right? Like that's me. Like I don't ever need to see a game invite. Like I will never play a game on Facebook. Right. So, will they allow people the option to not have all this shopping, stuff in their feeds and have that be another way to waste 3 hours a day on Facebook?
Yeah, I think that it would, if they were going to give us something like that, there's a couple of things at play here. So I think one is I would love to have the ability to turn off sections. Because you're going to have people on Facebook who they don't care about shopping at all. Shopping to them, shopping games, like they just want all that stuff off. They just want to be able to go in there and communicate with friends and family and whatnot. And they don't want that sort of stuff when they're looking at Facebook. So I think that's one thing at play. The other thing I think that's important actually about this topic is Facebook's also looking to get people to stay on Facebook. And I find this really interesting because, we're talking about when Apple came out with iOS 9, for instance, recently, they added something to let you run ad blockers, for instance, when you're browsing Safari on your phone. And, really nice because it speeds up the site significantly, but it's bad because if I'm a business and I generate money, for instance, from some of that ad revenue that's happening, I will no longer be able to generate revenue to keep my site afloat necessarily because people are able to shut it off. Now let's put Facebook in that situation as well. If I am on Facebook and I am going to, make a purchase through this shopping tab and I don't have to go to your website anymore, that also means that, potentially I'm going to miss out on, say that business spent a ton of money on building their website and they've got a great little, pop-up or whatever that happens maybe after I make a purchase that says, hey, get us on your list and hey, here's 25% off or something, right? Or upselling me on other products. I think that the shopping tab, I know at first you're probably going to have a lot of people that are going to be up in arms on it and be like, you know what, I don't want this because I want people coming back to my website and, making a splurge on a purchase, or, hey, they happen to come across some item that we're trying to clear stock on that happens to be on a, super duper clearance. At that point, they're not going to necessarily make that purchase because they won't see the item, I think. Unless there's some way to somehow translate it where my website looks very similar to that inside of Facebook. So, I mean, there's so many options I think nowadays for shopping, but I do like that, I think it would be cool if they could open up some of this and, let brands on their Facebook page, have a dedicated shopping section, structure it, I think in a more, in a way that is really geared towards that brand and, give the customer, I think, some incentive to shop within Facebook maybe, but.
Yeah. I mean, I think that if there's some incentive, and I do like the idea of the control. I mean, I think that if there's a way to turn it on and off versus bombarding your feed or something like that, that's definitely going to be a lot better received than if it's just constantly, interrupting you. But from what you were saying, it would be kind of on the side and under events. And so you would purposely select to go there. And I know I've actually come to rely on my, Amazon does know my buying habits pretty well. And I have found a lot of cool things that are related to what I have purchased that I wouldn't have necessarily gone searching for in the first place. So I think the concept is cool. It'll just be in the rollout and to see how well it's received.
Yeah, I mean, I know at first. I mean, at first we're gonna have so much backlash from people.
Oh yeah,
they're gonna not want it on Facebook. At the same time, they're gonna have issues. You're gonna have brands. They're gonna say, well, hey, we're losing revenue or whatever because Facebook's detracting from that I mean, but, because they're not able to like, make that ad revenue or something, or who knows what. So I'm fascinated though by it. I mean, because like I said, I like e-commerce. I mean, I think if done right, I think that, there's a lot of options. I also foresee that, maybe we'll have at some point a dedicated app for shopping on Facebook.
Right. Yeah.
Apps for everything these days. So.
Yeah, probably. No, the part that I always think is funny is like the backlash that happens as soon as Facebook changes something, and without people realizing like this is a free platform and you're opting in to use it, and yes, it's become such a part of our lives that we feel like we own it, right? And that it's not fair of them to like change the way something is displayed or any of that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I just find that really entertaining. And so, that's going to be like a huge part of it when they launch the shopping, that people are going to be, there'll be people that love it and then people that hate it. And then half of the people that hate it will love it within like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Right. There's going to be so much backlash at the beginning. And I think once it, starts to catch on, I think people will, I think they'll be really, I think they'll really take to it. I think if it, once it gets started. So. And it is funny because it kind of brings me to the next topic, actually, that I was going to talk about, which was topic number 5, which was it's called Facebook Notify. And, so here's the thing. They're testing on another app. It's a newsfeed type app, but it's got push notifications tied into it. So you can be notified about certain things happening on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Which, kind of putting all these pieces together, like if I'm using Notify, if I'm a publisher, like I can reach more of the people, obviously, and drive people back to like a website, or, and whatnot, like if they're really interested in my brand on Facebook. I could see something like that, tying into that and like somehow having a way to put like, if I'm a fan of a certain business, maybe we could relate to e-commerce and people could get in and instead of just like getting a push notification for like news, they could get a push notification related to, what's, new products that are added to like a business's like website, for instance. So.
Yeah. Or when a sale goes live, right? Or something like that, like directly related to the shopping thing. Like I know, twice a year, I set my clock around the biannual or the semi-annual Victoria's Secret, what do they call it? Like the super sale or something like that. And last year I missed it because I didn't see, for whatever reason, I was really busy and I didn't see all the, Facebook ads or whatever. And I just thought like, man, like that would have been cool to get like a notification and a reminder that happens. And I'm actually a member of a couple different like Reddit groups that specifically post, like shopping deals so that you don't miss them, or like, those special sales and stuff like that. So that's definitely an area I think that the notifications, especially for brands that you love, like if I could opt in to like brands that I know and love and I follow, and I get notified, like if a coupon goes live or a sale comes on, like, I would definitely do that.
I mean, and Alex put in a question here. Don't you get way too many notifications? You need more. I think it really comes down to personal curation and being on top of, the notifications that are available, like to you. Like you said, like you join certain things and, you want those notifications. And there's certain ones where people, they just sign up for them and they don't ever take the time to actually control them, to the point where like it's not, it's not excessive that they're getting too many, So I think that, you've got, I personally like the idea. I mean, it's like liking a Facebook page. I mean, instead of having to like put them in a list, make sure that they're at the top of my news feed. Like I would love to be able to get the option to, to be notified about that sort of stuff. That I'm not relying on trending topics or missing out on it because, hey, I didn't follow them on Twitter or their RSS feed or something.
Right. Yeah. And I think that, the average person probably wouldn't opt into more than like a dozen places. And so, I mean, for me personally, I'm thinking of like maybe five brands or stores that I would opt into to get their notifications and stuff. So that's not overwhelming. I mean, right now I'm opted into their email newsletters that go to like a junk email address that I check once a week and just kind of see when something comes up. So, but some of these offers are more timely, and I could see opting into the notification to make sure that I take advantage of something.
And there's also a feature in Facebook pages where you can expire posts. I don't know if you've seen this. So it's it's not just like running like a dark post or like a Facebook ad, that's only for a limited time. You could run a post and have it like pull off basically after a certain amount of time. I think that could actually,
That's
again,
cool.
I'm putting all these pieces together here. I think being able to have like a push notification, to be able to have a dedicated shopping area and the ability to like expire posts if I'm a business, like I think that it helps. One, I think having something like that would be awesome because it would cut down on, having people having a business post about an offer and then all of a sudden like the offer is sold out or something like that. You don't have to go comment back to everybody and say it's out of stock. Have that somehow come down, off the Facebook page. There's a guy. Let me see where he is.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Hey, I have a really quick question about Blab.
Yeah, sure.
Can I? So I see there's some like little hands down here that are like it's like hands up like this, and that the numbers are going up.
Right.
What is that?
So it's people giving you props.
Okay.
So it's
oh my God, it's exploding.
It's obviously everybody's said, hey.
This is only my second time on Blab, so I'm I'm learning. Oh my gosh.
You're doing a great job. So the way that it works, people give you props, and then at the end, it's the end's kind of neat because it's kind of like gamification. So at the end, they actually show a score of all the people that are on there, which is kind of interesting. And it shows like, okay, like if you and myself and we had Risa on there, the three of us, it will show us and how many props that we got. So
does it accumulate or is it like just for that?
It's just
this conversation.
Right now, it's just for this conversation.
Oh, okay.
So,
oh man, I'm owning you.
Yeah,
like,
I think somebody's
thanks, you guys.
No, but it's actually it's pretty cool. So basically, there's a lot of it. It really comes down to like the topic, and kind of. I could see this obviously also being a way to, almost establish like a leaderboard on Blab, of who's a really good presenter or a good blabber.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like your karma on Reddit, right? Like, just cool.
So yeah. Let's see. So I got one more topic here. Let me see. This is again like these are so funny. Like, is every single session that we've been doing these, they've all been very Facebook focused. By the way, if you do want to, here's just a quick thing. If you want to reply to people, there's a little reply icon next to them.
Okay.
Do that. You can also
I see.
The person as well. They used to have a questions feature, but they've actually removed that, where you could do like /Q and it would put a question in there. Let me see if it actually.
Oh, okay.
/Q. Let me actually see if it still works. It used to have a section, but let me see. Actually, there we go. Cool. Okay. So there used to be a section off to you had all messages and mentions, but you used to be able to put /Q and then whatever you want to put. Oh, good. Thank you very much. Let's see who that was. Thanks a lot, Jackie, for telling us about that. Yeah, I was talking with a couple people on Blab today, and they were a couple of the Blab founders, and they were talking about how like it was removed, and so it is nice that it is going to come back. And yes, as Craig said here, you can also change the background with /light and /dark. So I actually like the idea of doing /Q and being able to have it in the actual queue, as opposed to being able to go over there and have to flip back and forth between things. So
right.
So yeah. So let's see. So topic number 6, I think that was it 6. I think so. Topic number 6 was a dedicated Facebook news feed. A Facebook video feed.
Okay.
As well, actually. We got Michael here. Let me bring Michael on as well.
Yeah, he's my buddy.
Oh, cool.
Hey, Angela.
Michael.
That's crazy.
Yeah, totally
We're both members of a co-working space here in San Diego called Third Space. So yeah, he just messaged me and asked if I was a Third Spacer. I'm like, yeah, I recognize you.
Yeah,
very
I
cool.
discovered Blab about a month ago, and I started. I started this weekly design show where we talk about design stuff on Saturdays. So yeah, it's a great way. It's a great way to just have a little bit of visibility and presence and engage people in social media in a way that's a little bit more personal, which
yeah.
It's one thing that has always bothered me about social media is just the lack of tone. It's kind of like, all text-based communication. So it's kind of refreshing, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
It is nice. I mean, to be able to, also to kind of see that person's personality also, because, people can, they can write however they want. And, it doesn't really give you a good viewpoint of like what that person's like in real life.
Right. Yeah.
If I join this, and it's, in this case, I try to keep these at 30 minutes or so.
Nice.
They're always fun because you get to meet a lot of interesting people.
So what's the topic?
Today, well, basically I run a weekly show on just social media marketing overall, like what's new, 3 to 5 items, and then some tools that I think are useful. But right now we were just talking about one of the topics, which was a dedicated Facebook video feed. And this is basically Facebook's way of taking on YouTube. And I think my screen just froze.
A dedicated Facebook video feed? You're talking about Facebook Live?
Yes.
Are you talking about Facebook Live?
Say it again. No, actually, this is actually just an absolute dedicated feed in the app.
Oh.
So Facebook Live, a little bit different. So that's more for like, you're talking about live mentions. That's geared towards, celebrities and public figures, people basically with a verified account. But this would actually be an actual dedicated feed within Facebook to be able to look at just videos.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I've seen some of those new features. So where you click on a video and then you can just start scrolling through all the different videos, right? Is that what you're referring to now? How they incorporated this extra layer?
They're talking about having it. If I'm looking at Facebook and I just want to see videos, having a dedicated tab for that. So instead of text post and photos, videos are all mixed together, I can just go right to the videos. And they're doing that, I think, as a way to obviously battle YouTube.
I've got an app that I use for that. It's called Show You. And Show You basically goes through all of your social networks, and it aggregates any videos from all of them that people in your network are tweeting or Facebooking, and then it puts them all in one place, and you can just go through them one by one. It's better than HBO, honestly. Show
what's the
you
website for that, actually?
I think. Let's see.
So literally, like it is. Let's say.
Yep, showyou.com. I think they've got an iOS app also. That's it.
So I think it's. Did I put the right one in there? I think I did.
Cool.
Good. Very cool. That actually looks like I'm actually looking at.
I'm just excited that they're starting to segment out types of content, because that's my biggest complaint about Facebook is that it's just kind of like a catch-all, where that's one thing I love about Reddit. I go to Reddit, I go straight to like the topics that I want to read about, right? So the fact that like Facebook's starting to like segment, I think it's really encouraging, because there's definitely and when I think about it, I think about things I would not want to see, right? Like specific types of content I would rather not look at. And so if they're starting here with videos, then that's encouraging that hopefully in the future different types of content will also be like kind of filtered and sectioned out.
Cool. Yeah.
So this kind of reminds me of like, if I'm looking at Google, it kind of reminds me of like, basically Facebook maybe adding some sort of segmentation, like what you do on Google. When you do a Google search, you pull
images,
up,
videos.
You pull searches, you go to images. Yeah, exactly. I'm wondering if Facebook can really compete with everybody at once. I mean, that's like a big shot at Google if they could give you a way to segment your content a little bit better.
Yeah. So I'm trying to find what you're referring to on Facebook. I still don't see it. Is there like a area on the left hand column that you can?
You're probably not going to see it, but they're testing it. They're testing it in the mobile app.
Oh, in the mobile app.
Yeah. So basically, they're testing it obviously with with certain users and whatnot.
So I have seen what you're talking about in the mobile app, and it's all black, and then you just have video after video after video after video that you can scroll through? Is that?
I put a link in the chat window. Actually, let me see.
Yeah, it's scroll up a little bit.
Dedicated video feed. There. Got it.
Yeah, that'll give you an idea of what it's going to look like. So you may have it. I mean, I haven't. I personally.
Yeah. No, I have been using that. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
It's pretty cool. Let's see.
See, and then the next step, I think.
Yeah, it's a lot like Show You is doing. It's been doing for a while. They've been doing that for some time. They probably caught on that Show You was, tacking onto the back of their audience because they hadn't figured out that they needed to start organizing things by video. Yeah, it's a great way to kill time, isn't it?
Yeah, no, but I think that I think that they have to kind of do that. I mean, just because they're getting so big, that they have to have there's so much content. I mean, people can't keep up with all the content, right. So they're going to have to find a way to really segment things out, I think, a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to see, I think they would compete even better if they would somehow then segment by topic. We're coming up on election year. Mm-hmm. I would love to mute all political posts, right? And it's not because I'm not political or I don't care about our country or, all those things. It's just, I don't need to see that on Facebook, right? Same with religious posts or, things like that. That's why I love Reddit, because then I can go directly to I want to read on this topic. So
yeah,
that's why I said I get excited because if they're starting to segment by content type, then maybe the next thing would be content topic, mm-hmm. and you could just kind of, and I know you can search for it, but within the people that I'm already friends with, right. if I could mute certain topics, I'd probably like it a lot better. I'd spend more time on Facebook.
Do you use friends lists?
I do. But
because you can add friends to lists, and based upon the type of things that they post about, just throw them in that category.
That doesn't help me because I want to see them post their pictures of their kids or their dog, but I don't want to hear them tell me about their political views. So I might not want to mute that friend entirely. I just want to, I want to mute by topic,
sure.
And so I think that would be. I don't know. That's wishful thinking. But
they do have a feature where, if there's a certain type of topic, you can say, "I don't want to see posts like this," and then so the more signal that you provide Facebook, the more it's going to show you the type of stuff you want.
Yeah.
So, when you see a post that you don't like, just go, I'd rather not see posts like this, and then in the future, it'll start to learn the types of things that
sure.
you do like. So that's kind of it's personalization, personalizing it to your tastes.
Yeah. And I do that. It's just, there's no way to opt out of political posts right now. It just doesn't, there's no way to do that. And
well, everything's political if you look at it from any angle, right?
I mean, people specifically talking about the debates or the election or, stuff like that.
Sure. Okay.
Trust me, I follow this stuff. I'm not trying to say that I don't.
Right. So
I just don't want it on Facebook.
Saying, I don't want election stuff, in my feed, and it still hasn't. It's still showing you stuff you don't want.
Yeah, I mean, it's not because it's people posting it, right? I don't think the algorithm is advanced enough yet to say it's not. Surprised. I don't want to hear from this person. I just don't want this topic.
You'd be surprised if and the thing is people look at Facebook and they're like, oh, I can't stand it because it's just all this crap. That it's the real reason is because, and I watched this talk with Robert Scoble about this, and he was talking all about, he went through this whole session on just how much signal that you really need to give Facebook until it can really know what you like. Mm-hmm. And so it takes a lot of work, extra work. And then once you do that and you take the time and you could spend a couple weeks just doing that. And then by the time you get through it, then eventually you'll have something where the things that you see are
but that's frustrating. And like you said, it takes a long time and I have to click all these buttons. It'd be much easier.
Right. I
could just click once for a certain topic and then it was done.
Yeah.
But But again, I know we're getting way off topic at this point, but that's what got me excited when I saw the video segmentation out.
Yeah.
And the shopping, it's like, okay, we're thinking about segmenting. I like it.
You know, I think overall, I mean, I think that it would be nice to have like some sort of like Boolean search or whatnot to be able to say like post, like, on Google, if you go do a search for something and, something and some topic, and they'll actually show you like this includes, the first word, but it doesn't include the second word in the search results. Like to be able to have something like that. I mean, Facebook to do a little bit better search. I know they had graph search for a while. They did shutter that.
No, the graph search is still there.
Yeah, but they've changed up a lot of the queries. Like you used to be able to get lots of stuff out of it. But they were starting to get rid of a lot of things on it. So, but overall, I would really like. I mean, I think. I agree with you guys. I mean, as far as segmentation, it would be great to be able to, remove certain types of posts, but not necessarily remove everything from that person.
Right.
I mean, the other thing though is that, with all of this, I think it's probably the key point is that a lot of people, they don't manage their social channels properly. Mm-hmm. Like if it's, for instance, Twitter, like Twitter doesn't promote the list function very much, and people just say, hey, let me go follow people. And then all of a sudden, what do they end up with? They end up with, hey, I'm following 5,000 people or 1,000 or whatever. And they have no active way to manage that. Mm-hmm. Facebook's the same way. You have to spend the time setting up, lists, add interest list for pages or profiles or whatever, so that things are a lot easier to manage for you. Otherwise, you just feel overwhelmed.
Yeah. You know what I noticed last week, which was new, is I went and unfollowed someone from my Facebook, and it was on the mobile app. I haven't seen it on the regular Facebook. And then it asked me, are there other people you want to unfollow? And it basically like popped up a grid, and I was able to like go through and, kind of unfollow people in bulk, whereas before it was like, you have to go to their profile and follow all that kind of stuff. So it seems like they definitely are thinking about the experience that we're all having with Facebook. It seems like they know some of the frustrations that people are experiencing with it and are trying to come up with solutions to make it a better environment,
right.
People to hang out in. So
when I first joined Facebook back in 2006 or 7, when they first came out, I just spent like all my free cycles just going in and liking as many pages as I could possibly like, because there weren't that many at the time. There was like very few like companies that actually had pages or services that the ones that actually did exist, I just went through and liked a billion of them. So I got up to like 7,000 likes, which actually broke Facebook, because now they don't even allow you to have more than 5,000. And so now I've got like 7,000 something likes. So they don't allow me to like any more pages. And I can't unlike anything unless I plan on going and unliking like 2,000 pages.
Oh, wow.
So it's I'm not going to waste my time unliking a bunch of pages. I just don't have the time for that. But I have the time for tinkering and figuring out if I can make something work differently than it was intended to work, because that's what I like to find where the rule breaks. And so now I'm like in this really weird account state on my account, and they don't know how to help me.
That's kind of awesome though. Yeah. Like you broke Facebook. Right. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's been always one of the biggest challenges with Facebook. Would get when it kind of got started. I mean, there were so many, like just the amount of connections you could have was really kind of frustrating, because you get to a certain point and it would totally break a bunch of stuff. You couldn't do ads at some point. You couldn't like pages because you had too many either pending connections or too many people that were, you have too many connection requests. So, what do we got here? Angela, you got a question actually in the chat from David. So,
am I a model or a college student? No, neither.
She's a rock star.
No, you're doing a great job.
I see her in San Diego. She's hot. She's all the rage out here.
That's my alter ego.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm marketing professional by day, musician by night, and I'm a Gemini, so I'm totally entitled to have like two completely distinct personas. So that's what I'm going with. That's what I tell myself anyway.
So what type of musical instrument do you play?
I play guitar and I sing.
Nice, very nice.
So yeah. Yep. Well, cool. Well, guys, I actually need to jump. I was just coming on here to like tinker around and see what Blab was all about. And
yeah, well, we'll have to get Joe Marino on here.
Yeah, for sure. But it's really nice to meet you guys, and yeah, reach out to me if you ever want to chat. Is this kind of your regular schedule?
Yeah, I do these every week. Try to do them at 5 o'clock every week. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
5 o'clock East Coast time.
Yeah, East Coast time. Sorry, yeah.
Okay, and where are you at?
I'm in Washington D.C.
Oh, cool. Very cool. So. All right. Well, I'm going to drop out, but thanks again so much for letting me jump in, and thanks to everyone for the props. I'm going to screenshot this. Hold on.
Get a great job.
That's pretty cool. All right. We'll talk to you later.
See you, Angela.
Bye, Angela.
So let's see. So let me see what else I have here. So I don't have any other topics today, but I do have 3 tools that I did want to quickly share with everybody. And some of these are apps. Some of these also piggyback off of other topics that we've talked about over the past few weeks. I want to talk about tool number 1. This is it's called Sidekick.
Oh yeah, I played with that.
You want to talk about that? What do you think about it?
It's kind of creepy, but it works if you have to know that your email's been received, right?
Well, let's do this actually. Well, let's tell people what is Sidekick about. So basically, it's by HubSpot. So right. Sidekick by HubSpot. Mm-hmm. It ties into email marketing. It ties into email. So if I send somebody an email, I can see when that person opened it. What are some of the other things that it can do?
That's the only reason I've ever had a use for it. But
okay, well, so
if I need to know that like team members on my team have read a certain email or something, that's one way that I can verify that.
And it's kind of neat because I guess you used to have read receipts, like if people were using like Outlook or Lotus Notes or things like that.
Right.
But if more and more people get into using Gmail or their own personal website email address, then
I just stay away from email as much as I can. If I can use Slack or Spark, I'll avoid email by like the plague. Slack and Spark have reduced my email down to like 10% of the time, whereas before it was something like more like 70-80% of my time.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. I mean, you've got Slack, you also have Attentive. That's another one as well. Very similar product. That actually, I mean, that's a great point to bring up.
Attentive.
Yeah, it's ATTENTIV.
Okay.
So that's another tool. We talked about that one. I think it was last week. I think. I was on a panel with the guy one of the co-founders of that recently. But that's.
I work with a team that produces this. It's called Cisco Spark.
Oh, nice.
It's similar in the sense that it's got the team collaboration, ongoing dialogue, create your own rooms. Working on adding new integrations, but the real like key feature, aside from just being able to add your files and keep track of the dialogue around a specific chat and history for a project, is you can create a room with maybe like 3, 4, 5. I think it's up to like 15 or 11 people or something. And then anybody in that room, if you hit the call button, which is basically like a little FaceTime looking camera, mm-hmm. It'll call everyone in that room. So if you have a heavily distributed team, then you can call everyone on their devices. And there's this handoff feature where if I'm on my computer and I need to hand it off to my phone, I can stay on the conference call, and there's screen sharing and all that built into it. So it's kind of a different angle on what Slack is how they've attempted to solve these issues. But so definitely worth checking out.
Nice. Thanks so much for sharing that. I mean, we'll definitely make sure we check that out.
Sure.
So very cool.
So I'm trying to check out Attentive.
Yeah, it's did you get to the site or not?
Is it Attentively?
ATTENTIV, and it should be attentive.com actually.
Attentive.com.
Yeah. So that's tool number 1. Quick summary on that. Basically, tool number 1, Sidekick by HubSpot. It lets you see when people are reading your emails. It lets you also see when they like, you can see what they're doing, like where they're reading it from as well. So like you can see that, which, as you mentioned, I mean, great for like certain types of emails, but obviously, as you mentioned, if you use Slack or Attentive or some other, or Cisco Spark that you mentioned there, other third-party tools, it does reduce the reliance on, answering emails and whatnot. But overall, I mean, that's another tool to check out. It's a Google Chrome browser extension as well. So for people that are interested in that, that's a good tool to check out. Tool number 2, this is for your iPhone users. You specifically have to have an iPhone 6S or a 6S Plus. It's called Live GIF, but basically it is it's a paid app, but it lets you basically take, what what Apple's been doing is, they have these live photos that you can take where they take, a certain amount of photos and it's stitching them together into one short little video, actually, which is pretty neat. So this way people are able to, quickly, like, to actually do something with the photos they're collecting with that feature instead of just taking them and storing them and whatnot. So I don't know, do you have an iPhone 6S or a 6?
Yeah, Plus? I do. So what does this do? It takes the live photo and it turns it into a GIF?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So super handy for you.
So for people who don't have iOS 9 who can't see the live photos.
Yeah, they can't do that because they have to. It's basically a feature just for those people.
So it works with anyone that has iOS 9. So if I send you, on a non-XS phone,
right,
I've taken a live photo. As long as you're running iOS 9, you can see the live photo.
Right, you just can't take them. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So, and actually, there is let me see if I can pull up the app as well. There's another app. Actually, it's called Burstio. Let me actually find that one as well. Basically, it's for people that have taken burst photos. So you know how like you could take like a lot of, you could hold down your camera and you could take like 20 photos at a time.
Nice.
That is another tool you can use as well. So I'm going to put that one in the chat for everybody here as well. That's a pretty cool little tool. So what do you like the new iPhone 6S or 6S Plus?
I mean, I had the 6 Plus before, so it was a pretty minor upgrade for me.
Yeah, I'm a 6 Plus user right now. I haven't.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it was worth the update just for the little features I do, but it's mostly because I do iOS development and
nice,
and I design apps. So
very cool. I've got an app in the App Store, or I had one actually. So very cool. That is very neat. So I think for me, like one of the big selling points is obviously the 3D Touch. Okay. I tried it out a couple times. I mean, I think that would actually get me to upgrade just because I think that's a very useful feature, and I like that a lot of the app makers are starting to really implement it into their apps. I mean, most people.
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing for the developer is to be able to at least know what type of interactions that you might want to be able to support in a future app that you're working on.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's great because it also makes you, as an app developer, focus on what is important for your app. Like, if I'm going to launch, like, say, Facebook, like, what are the standard things that I'm going to want to do?
Right.
Is there a limit, by the way, on how many things you can put in that list? So, like, for example, if I'm, say, Facebook, say I want to have it where you can jump right to, say, post an update, take a video, would there, like, so we're talking about some of these things like adding a video tab or adding, like, shopping or whatever. Would there be a way to direct people to that particular section, maybe?
I mean, you can't just have like an endless scrolling list if that's what you're asking.
I mean, like, instead of
when you're doing touch on like the app screen,
right.
Your home screen.
Would you be able to maybe do like, is there a maximum? Like, can you do 5 items or is it?
I think 4 is the maximum.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah. So, I mean, that's probably one of the biggest features for me.
Or actually it could be 3.
3, yeah. I mean, it probably is something very small.
Yeah, it's 3.
So, okay. Very cool. I mean, it's good to hear, it's good to hear though from somebody who's a developer, to kind of hear like what you're, like to kind of get.
I take that back. I've got 4 here.
4. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be interesting. I mean, I know obviously you don't want to junk it up with your app and make it where like it's too hard to use. Cause I could see a lot of developers get into doing that and just make it so complex,
Right.
So, I mean, I think though it really comes back to like, I actually think it would be really cool too. Like what if I'm this would be pretty neat. I think, what if I'm like you can save like your, like a website to the home screen. It'd be cool if you could set up like 3D, and maybe you could do this. I don't know, to be able to set up 3D touch to where I could click on your website
and maybe go to different areas of the site.
Oh, that'd be great. What if I could do like email sign up, go to a tools section and go to like your blog or your homepage or something.
Yeah.
I think that would be like super awesome.
Hey, Robert, how's it going, big guy? Robert's a social media genius. You might want him to join us.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So let's see. So the third app that I did want to mention to everybody here was, this is piggybacking off of a topic from last week. We talked about LinkedIn groups. LinkedIn made a ton of changes to LinkedIn groups. This week we've actually launched an app. I had a hard time finding the app if I went on the mobile app and went to the app store to try to find it, but there's a link to the LinkedIn groups app. Doesn't work exactly like Facebook's group.
Right.
Robert, by the way, if you have any feedback on this, I'd love to, if you want to join one of these seats real quick and we can chat about LinkedIn's groups app. I'd love to hear kind of what you think about it. If you think it's what are some of your favorite things of that new app?
Yeah, the thing I can't stand about LinkedIn groups is like they have a limit on how many groups you can be a member of.
Yeah.
So I keep having to unjoin one group to join another one.
Yeah, and they always made it really difficult to actually get to as well. Like it used to be, go like through like a weird profile menu, and then it was under this setting and under that setting. I never understood it because you could never find the instructions, and then the ones you did find were just like so complex. Where you're just like, okay, whatever, I'm not going to mess with this. I don't understand why they limit you on how many groups you could join.
Yeah, I wonder now that they've launched this app if they're going to increase that limit.
That would be actually really nice. I'm wondering also as far as like groups, I really like Facebook's groups app. I like that, it's easy to like get to the group. I can have a conversation, I can see what other conversations are happening. I really like that functionality. And I was kind of hoping that like LinkedIn would do that with theirs, but it didn't look like they do that. I mean, it looks like it's, one long feed and then you can jump into different groups. It's still a lot of like scrolling and a lot of like, hey, there's 260 new conversations today.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And so I kind of really wish they would, venture into, making it probably a little different as far as the interface goes. I mean, it looks kind of clunky a little bit to me when you get into like, the list of the groups. But Robert, do you have anything you want to add if you want to jump in here and chat with us? It'd be cool if I could invite people into like the seat,
or like you force them in there.
Well, I mean, it'd be like, hey, come on down, like almost like a game show.
What if you like could force them to have their camera turned on and then suddenly they're like, oh, I'm here.
And I'm sure that would
do that.
That would make me so likable if I did that. I mean, okay, so give me a few. Okay, I didn't understand what you're saying. Okay, so yeah, so that's it, guys. That's that's the tools for the week.
Tools of the week. Let's see if I got a couple extras that I came across this week. So I do a fair amount of scrubbing myself.
Appeared in. Let's see what that one was. Create a room and invite up to 8 friends. Okay. Make sure I bookmark that one. Did you come across any?
No, I did. I was just checking. Let me check my iPad here.
So is that a homemade stand or is that a
Etsy?
Ah, very nice.
Yeah.
It's cool. Does it rotate? Nice.
Yeah. We got one for the iPhone too.
Very cool. So does that resize to fit different iPhones?
No, only the 6 Plus.
Okay.
The 6S Plus.
Very cool. I like the look of that though. It's really nice.
Yeah. I got a lot of wood in my office, so it goes well with everything.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah, if you have a link to any of that, feel free to send one my way. I can check it out.
To the what?
To the Etsy, if you have stuff on Etsy.
Oh, yeah. No, that's not my stuff, but yeah, I can send you the link.
Yeah, always get to support different communities. By the way, it's really interesting as far as Etsy goes. Didn't Amazon I think Amazon launched a competitor, an Etsy competitor. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at that.
No, I didn't know about that.
Is that
a thing?
It's like Etsy, or it's not called Etsy. It's
like Amazon Boutique, Amazon Handmade.
Yeah.
Amazon Handmade.
Do what?
Amazon Handmade.
Yes.
Of course, that's what it's called. I just guessed it, right?
Sorry, it's called. Let's see. Is it handmade? Yeah, handmade
at Amazon.
One of a kind products. I find it really interesting. I mean, at some point, do you think that they're gonna like stamp out a lot of these competitors? I mean,
I hope they don't commoditize that market because it would ruin it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really interesting to me because you see like Amazon's doing it, and you see all these other very large companies doing it as well. Like they're they're so big that they can just they come into the market. It's like, hey, they
just take over if they wanted to.
Yeah, and Etsy's I know Etsy's kind of been struggling a little bit. I mean, but it's still got that like that wow factor for people that are interested in handmade goods. I mean, as a platform for people to be able to sell. I mean, you would think that if Amazon was going to do something, they would just buy Etsy.
Yeah, they really did a lot of innovation for interaction design, which is kind of the field of work that I do. Mm-hmm. They, they were the first to allow you to sort by product color.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want to just see all purple everything, you can just go through and only look at purple products, or only look at yellow products. Mm-hmm. That's definitely their signature, is just how they really innovated in that little boutique handmade space.
And I think
I hope they succeed. I've been rooting for them for a long time. I met the founders up at the Figueroa Hotel up in LA for an event that they were hosting there. Really cool people, just kind of down to earth and really wanting to support the local artists.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. I mean, see, that's the one thing, like with this, like with handmade, just in general, like it's a very fine line, I guess. I mean, because, you've got a lot of there's so much technology out there nowadays. Like, are people really is everything really handmade, or are they, using some other, manufacturing to help with some of those different facets? I think Amazon,
the other platform that could kill Etsy also is Pinterest.
Mm-hmm.
Because Pinterest is starting to allow you to sell products that you're posting to.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean,
I would rather Pinterest kill Etsy than Amazon kill Etsy, because when I think of Amazon, I think of like, okay, I need to buy a TV. I don't think of buying something that someone's put just all his heart and love into. Like I ordered this lamp over here from Etsy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you can see, let me turn it off so you can kind of see it.
So is it gonna be like one of those like leg lamps?
No, it's kind of like a steampunk lamp. I guess you can't really see it very well, but so this artist out of LA was he handmade these. It's all welded and it's got little Edison bulbs in it and little gauges and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he shipped it. He threw it in the box, overnight. It was here the next day, and unfortunately, like the little one of the little lamps, the part that was welded was kind of coming off. He drove all the way down here to San Diego from LA just to weld it here. He couldn't. He had his tools with him. He messed up the wood, so he took the lamp all the way back to LA for the week and brought it back down here. And it just goes to show like the type of like service and care that someone who's really putting a lot of time into these things can provide that you just simply can't expect from some major, manufacturer. And I just have a feeling that if Amazon were to commoditize that market, that a lot of that would start going away, that kind of personal touch,
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you on that. I mean, that's awesome to hear that story about the guy, coming down and then going back and, coming back to bring your item. I mean,
it was definitely a unique experience. And now I've got, we did a design show and we promoted some of his pieces in the store. So
yeah. I mean, you're right. Like it's such a fine line. I mean, because I mean, it's almost like a dying breed in a sense, because it's something that, I mean, it's awesome to see some of the things that some people are able to just create.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, heck, it even reminds me of people that build, they have they write your name on rice, for instance, with a little pen or whatever, right? And they didn't use a machine to do that, And nowadays it's we'll just make a machine, we'll have a machine do all that stuff. And it makes sense in some cases, but it still loses that personal touch. And I think that's important to somehow try to keep that around.
Right.
So, let me see. If you think of any other tools or whatever, feel free to send them my way, by the way, and I'll be sure to mention.
Yeah. Specifically social media tools.
I basically like to share, whether it's a social tool, it could be, a business building tool, it could be an app that, something that's going to help people.
I did discover one yesterday.
Sure.
It was called Calendly or something like that.
Calendoodle maybe, or
let's see.
It's called Calen, Calen. I'm not
Calendly.com. So I started using this to have regularly scheduled tweets go out in my social feed on Twitter.
Okay.
And with Calendly, you can sync it up to your Google Calendar and then allow for different increments of time to be booked. So you can request, you can say, hey, I'm available for a 15-minute, strategy session with you, just to get a feel for who's interested in your work. And, if you want to be able to work with them, to screen them before deciding to work on their project. So you set up which times you're available, and then you set up the increments of time that you want to make available to people, and then they can go in, when they see their tweet, and they can book this time, and then, you commit to that, and then later you've got that time available. So I'm usually only available in the evenings and on weekends. So
yeah,
if I can be an advisor on a little entry-level startup company, and they need some extra help, then it's a pretty handy little tool if you're doing consulting and you got a few extra cycles that you'd like to share with people.
That is a cool tool. I'm actually looking forward to checking this out a little bit more and seeing how it works.
So it allows you to optimize your schedule a little bit without having to go after the people. It allows them to come after you and figure out if it allows you to kind of screen them but I usually do this pre-screening process for any project I decide to work on. So it works great for that.
Yeah, that's good because there's not a lot of back and forth with all that. Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And people saying, oh, hey, I can't make this, it's not like, hey, hey, I'm available. How it goes. I mean, you try to book an appointment with somebody and they're like, well, tell me what days you're available. And then you tell them what days or times. And then they're, and then it's like, well, I can't do this, or, can you do this time? It's like, no, that's what's on my calendar there.
Right.
So that's actually a really good tool. Thank you so much for sharing that. How much is this tool? Is it a free tool, paid tool?
Free. Yeah. As far as I know, I think they have a
event based. Okay.
An upgraded plan or something that you can subscribe to. I just started using it yesterday. So.
Okay. No, that's cool. Yeah. It's I was looking it up. It's free. And then there's one event type that you can do for free, schedule unlimited events. That's pretty cool. So I'm guessing a lot of people would use, maybe you want to do one for a strategy, for instance. You might do one event around strategy, I guess. And then
they've got a place that you can put in your PayPal account or something. But I don't really see that. I don't see myself using it for the purpose of like charging people. It's more like, hey, I'd like to meet you. I'd like to, just get like a quick increment of time on your calendar just to talk about what I'm working on and, get your thoughts on it and see if there's synergy, So for that, I think it's a pretty useful tool.
Very cool. We got a bunch of people. Let's see who all just joined here. Oh, cool. We got some good people here. Stan Bush, friend of mine. Nice. Good to see a lot of familiar faces here. Very cool. So with that, I know we're at the end of the show here. If anybody, if you guys want to subscribe to next week's show, I'm going to just put this in the chat for everybody. I do, like I said, I do these every Friday. I try to keep them to 30 minutes. Obviously, this one went over a little bit longer. But you can subscribe to next week's show. Here's a link to that. And then also, if you guys want, if you want to get on my list for when I do send out the direct links to the show, if you don't happen to follow us on Blab, you can text Weekly Social to 33444. And that will actually, thank you very much. Who's this? Thanks very much, Dawn, for she was commenting on a Canva keyboard shortcut post that I had put together. But if you guys want to get on a list where I'll notify you when new Blabs go up, whether it's this week's replay, a blog post related to this, or also an upcoming next week's Blab, for instance, just text Weekly Social to 33444 to get on the list to be notified about future episodes on Blab. And with that, I mean, by the way, Michael, it's really great to meet you.
Definitely. Likewise. So
hopefully we'll see you on some future shows.
All right. Yeah. Enjoyed it.
Got a lot of great information. So
you too. Likewise. Have a good week.
Thanks, Mike.